I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, August the 17th, the best day in the whole world, where I get showered with gifts and kind words just for being born. Brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price without the BS. End of story. See how Macrocin performs head-to-head versus Pioneer products. Go to macrocin.com. Cattlemen helping packers, and you think, well, what's going on there? Well, we may not all think that the packers are the nemesis or the enemy, but they sure do fight back hard when cattlemen are trying to get some market position, and the cattlemen seem like they kind of want to help the packers here because we've seen several reports, I don't know, I'd have to see the books, but saying that the packers are in the red ink right now. And you would think that if they ever are, it might be time for them to be getting at least close to it right now. Their box beef cutout values have been kind of struggling to recover from seasonal lows, and the price for fat cattle is up there pretty good, but they're sure keeping it from going any higher. And cattlemen seem more than happy this week to sell them steady to lower earlier in the week. And like I said on a previous visit, the reason that packers come after cattle earlier in the week is because they're short of cattle and they're hungry and they're wanting to get some stowed away. But the cattle sellers, the few that sell them, haven't been really pushing for any higher prices. We saw on the Fed Cattle Exchange this week that on Wednesday that they had put a reserve on the cattle at 180 and 181, which seems, pretty reasonable, meaning that cattle sold at 180 Friday evening. Why they couldn't do that just 4 or 5 days later, it's hard to believe, but the board's been down this week. And it's always been funny to me how the cash market follows the board rather than the board following the cash market. But the best bids on the Fed Cattle Exchange on the Texas cattle was 176.5 to 179. Maybe your guys in the country thought 179 was the best they could do, so they started puking the cattle at 179. But maybe your cattlemen are feeling a little bit guilty because uncharacteristically, most of them have been making some money this year. Of course, the cattle feeder's not making near what the backgrounders have been making, but they'd had several rough years of the go. But this year, a lot of your backgrounders easily making $400 or $500 a head on the cattle that they turned out this summer if they got them bought halfway right and got them sold good. Didn't lose too many of them. Talked to several large backgrounders that made as much as $700 or $800 per head. But don't forget, packers just come out of the COVID time, and when that was the toughest time for many people, that was when packers were making all-time record profits. And at one point there, when production was down, albeit, but they were making up to and as much as $2,500 per carcass. And I don't remember them feeling too bad about that or sharing any of those profits with the cattlemen. Of course, some of the guys that have sweetheart deals have profit sharing in their formula contract there. We know that because of the way that the packers reacted whenever we were going through the worst of the COVID there. But your cattlemen, for whatever reason, are helping the packers get back in the black. Maybe they're afraid that they're going to shut the plants down on them. I mentioned earlier this week that Tyson Foods has shut down some poultry plants, actually closing 4 poultry plants. And that is displacing a lot of workers, causing some really tough times on some contract growers there. And they just literally pulled the plug out from them. I'm not sure why you have contracts if you can just break them anytime you want to. But the reasoning on closing those poultry plants, they weren't being profitable. And as a whole, Tyson's third quarter loss was $417 million, which that sounds pretty tough, but when you're as big as they are, that's just part of the bumps. The same quarter a year ago, they had profits of $750 million. But wouldn't it be nice if you had some cattle on feed or some cattle turned out and they were going to lose money and you could just turn them out in a bar ditch or something like that? But we can't do that. You just have to go ahead and take your hickeys and go on, and everybody does that, or they try to do that until they've lost so much equity that they can't play anymore. And I think we're going to see fewer of our producers, especially cow-calf producers, when we come off of these highs. Hearing more stories all the time about especially your older cow-calf producers, and the average age of the cow-calf man is closer to 70 than it is 50 for sure. And a lot of those guys are seeing the prices on all classes of cattle right now, and they think this may be their best opportunity to get out, as bad as they hate to. But a lot of our older cow-calf producers are getting out, bringing their calves to town, bringing the cows into town, having them tested, selling the pairs that they have with light calves, selling their bred cows, and letting the rest of them go to the packer, because the cow meat is selling pretty well right now, and a butcher cow sells at a higher price than most producers are wanting to take them back to town for, if they've got any age to them at all. But we're sure seeing that. But Northern Plains selling cattle steady here early in the week, and Southern Plains selling them for $1 lower there. But it might be a time for some cow-calf or potential cow-calf men to get in if they've got access to grazing anywhere. Our nationwide range and pasture conditions, of the most recent test of those, showed that we had only 32% in poor or very poor condition of your range and pastures. That 32% compares to the same time a year ago when it was 49%. So that is definitely an improvement there. But let's look at your board. For Wednesday, August live cattle futures were down 32 cents, been down every day this week. For what reason, I don't know. 178.77. October was down 70 at 179.27. Back months were all down from 60 cents to just 12 cents on the lightest. But August feeder cattle down a half a dollar at 245.37, and September down 77 cents at 249 smooth. Back months on feeder cattle down a nickel to down 57 cents. December new crop corn finally back up. Been taking it in the head here for the last several sessions, but was up 6 cents at 481.5. November new crop beans up 18.25 cents at 1323.5. Kansas City September hard red winter wheat up 5.5 cents a bushel at 743. Fat cattle trade, and we have had some trade early this week, and on Wednesday's session we did have several confirmed sales in all 4 of the 5 major feeding areas that we get to see information from. Of course, we haven't seen anything come out of Colorado for quite some time, but Iowa, 1,200 head sold, confirmed on Wednesday, over 10,000 for the week so far, and just through Wednesday, that's pretty good. A week ago at this time, we hadn't seen hardly anything sold. But live sales on Wednesday in Iowa from 187 to 188, and some dress sales at 298. Nebraska, 1,600 head confirmed sold on Wednesday, 3,200 head for the week, live price at 188, dress price at 295. Kansas had some sales, 4,800 of them, and 7,000 for the week. Getting that stuff done early in the week. Maybe all the Southern Plains guys that actually sell negotiated cash are planning on a big vacation weekend, and they're not going to be around on Friday night. I'm not sure why they're all electing to sell so early in the week at lower prices, but 179 was the price in Kansas, and that's $1 lower. Texas, even Texas sold some 800 head confirmed on Wednesday, 1,500 head for the week, and 179 was the price. Did have a fat cattle auction up in the Northern Plains. Brick and mortar sales, Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. They had a good sale. It was a hot sale. Actually, the government or market reporter called the demand excellent. I don't remember that being in the handbook whenever I was a federal state market reporter in training lots of reporters to come through. The best that they had in the handbook was demand very good, but evidently it was excellent at Worthing, South Dakota. Fat sold steady to $4 higher with most of the gain on the heifers. Conventional fed cattle at Sioux Falls Regional sell from 183.5 to 187. Your program non-implanted or drug-free fat cattle at Sioux Falls Regional sold from 184 to 193. Good fat cattle auction for them. Box beef cutout values were higher again. They've gained $7 this week. That is helping the packers get back on the black side of the ink there. Choice cuts up 173 at 308.99. Selects up $1.74 at 284.77. Slaughter running just below par there, 367,000 through the first 3 days of the week. That's 2,000 less than last week's light slaughter, 8,000 less than the same week a year ago. And packers just continue to back up the slaughter, back up the slaughter. At some point, they're going to have to get aggressive to fill their needs. Let's talk about your punchy pick of the month contest, guys. We definitely want to keep doing that. We've got a bunch of punchy picks this month. It's going to take a heck of a pick to win the big prize this month, and of course that's going to be some really cool swag from Beaver Feed in Beaver, Oklahoma, and Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma there, and of course the case of Fair-Peace product, that revolutionary product that calms those cattle down, kind of alleviates their anxiety. Talked to a lot of producers that are having a lot of good luck with that. And be sure and stay tuned at the conclusion of the Feeder Flash video. Going to give you another video about Fair-Peace, and it's going to come from the people at Beaver Feed, and you can get a hold of them and they can send you some of that stuff if you're interested in buying some Fair-Peace. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services. That's Dakota Moss there, who offices in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoma National Stockyards Exchange Building. They are your LRP specialist. He and the agents that he works with there. You've got some fall grazers. If you're thinking about turning some cattle out, maybe on some wheat this fall. If you're going to be selling calves later on in the fall, he can help you lock in a price on those guys. And if you got any questions at all, get a hold of them at Livestock Risk Services. Talk about our feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer, 246.03 at the end of trading on Wednesday, actually 34 cents higher. And we saw our biggest sale on Wednesday, quote, lower prices on feeder steers. So I was a little bit surprised to see that, but that's including those sales. But I want to tell you about an auction that you might want to get onto, if nothing else, just to watch. It's Hal Wheaton's Angus Farm from Columbia, Missouri. They're going to have the sale at Harrisburg, Virginia, or Harrisburg, Missouri, and it's his 100th birthday. And they believe that this is the first time that a breeder of 100 years old or older is going to be hosting a production sale. It's going to be Saturday evening here, the 19th, right out of Harrisburg, Missouri. Got a small offering, 10 bulls and 20 females, but that is a 50-year herd there. It's going to be a good time, and you want to tune on to dvauction.com. You can view and bid that sale for Hal Wheaton's 100th birthday. It's going to be 7:30 p.m. on dvauction.com. Talk about our big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma had 8,300 head for their 2-day sale. Feeder steers were quoted $2 to $6 lower, and they've got good market reporting in El Reno there. They had a whale of a sale last week. I noticed on the automated market report, most of the loss was on the 9-weight steers, and a large percentage of the 9-weight steers were quoted as plainer type, and some of them discounted due to weighing condition there, but still lower price on feeder steers. We haven't seen that too often here lately. Feeder heifers were mostly steady with spots $1 higher on the heaviest ones. Calves on Tuesday sold steady to $2 higher. Stick out sale at OKC West was 285 head of 757-pound steers that were in attractive weighing condition there, bring 261.50. OKC West was also our national beef wire stick out sale of the day. Look at this automated marker report, and this is just for the Wednesday feeder sale without the calves included that they sold on Tuesday. But look at your heavier weights. 582 head of 7-weight steers, average 752 pounds with a weighted average price of $252.06. 1,095 head of 8-weight steers in El Reno, averaged 845 pounds at $237.02. And 1,601 head, a big offering of 9 weights there too, averaged 954 pounds with a weighted average price of $223.13. Look at some heifers. 563 head of 6-weight heifers had a weighted average weight of 624 and a weighted average price of $250.18. And 1,295 head of 7-weight heifers at OKC West averaged 760 pounds and $227.61. Talk about winter livestock in Dodge City, Kansas. Starting to get some receipts back there. 2,000 head. Been running real light receipts except for the King of the Ring sale for the last couple of months. But feeders were steady to 4 higher than last week's light test there. Pretty decent sale there in Dodge City, Kansas. Give you some individual quotes from all around. How about Bluegrass Stockyards East in Mount Sterling, Kentucky? They can sell them. 128 head, 773-pound steers standing in the ring in eastern Kentucky at $258.80. Tri-County Stockyards, Motley, Minnesota, recent addition there to our DV Auction broadcasting family there. They sold 56 Holstein steers, weigh 964 at $182.50. How about Coffeyville Stockyards, Northtown Barn up in Kansas there. Tyler and Layton's got a good sale going there. Had a really stick out sale on some 2-colored red and black cattle there. 212 head of 950-pound steers bring $244. That's close to the tops that we've seen here all summer, guys. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. 50 head of steers weighed 802 at $256.50. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.
My biggest account is Jeff Slatton, the owner of Beaver County Stockyards. For a while, we was selling him lots of antibiotics to doctor his cattle with. He was having basically a wreck at times. Therapies comes along, we introduce it, he starts trying it out. Almost instantly, his vet bill reduced drastically, and the only thing that was changed up was therapies. I've also had other guys, cow-calf guys, this previous fall that tried it. Had one individual out here east of Beaver. First time he's ever tried it. He said he's always weaned his calves. They've bawled. They're right around his house. Can't sleep. This is the first year he's used it. He sent me a video one afternoon. The calves are all at the bunk. They're eating. They're spread out doing what they're supposed to do, and not a sound. So he was sold on it instantly. I've had several other reports of that. Lots of people saying that their cattle they act different. They're calmer, they handle easier, they're at the bunk, they're drinking. If your cattle are doing that, they're gaining, they're doing what they're supposed to do.